2 birds and a bunch of grapes. When I found the painting of 2 birds pecking at grapes among the canvases piled in the middle of the artist's studio, no one had heard of Rita Wisely. Today, she's the art world's darling, the focus of a major retrospective at an important museum. The curator wants to include 2 birds and a bunch of grapes in the exhibition. So in a few days, the art handlers will come to crate and ship it off to the museum. The registrar told me to insure it for 10 times what I paid. The curator sends me the galleys for the exhibition catalog. The critics comment on Rita's use of paint, the way she slaps it onto raw canvas in big slathers of a brush or a smear of a palette knife. They describe her style as spontaneous and capricious, and talk about her playful approach to subject matter, taking whatever she finds in everyday life and giving it an outskilled role in a work of art. 2 birds is considered a good example of her whimsical treatment. The 2 birds are caricatures of a toucan and a pink songbird. On the left, the toucan is outlined in an uneven, continuous stroke of brown paint, shown in profile with a big bulbous beak and a googly eye on the side of its head. Its body, colored in with swipes of muddy, nude paint, is flecked with dark, comma-like feathers. The pink songbird dominates the right side of the canvas and is composed of messy, fat strokes of pink, a yellow triangle with a straight black line that defines the beak, and a black and white target for an eye. The exaggerated birds face each other, and between them is a cluster of purple circles with some dark green splodges that approximate grape leaves. There's a famous story that a lot of artists learn about a contest between 2 ancient Greek painters, Zeuxis and Parrhasius. When Zeuxis unveiled his painting of grapes, they appeared so real that birds flew down to peck at them. But when Parrhasius, whose painting was concealed behind a curtain, asked Zeuxis to pull aside that curtain, the curtain itself turned out to be a painted illusion. Parrhasius won, and Zeuxis confessed that to fool birds was one thing, but to fool him was another, entirely superior thing. Rita Wisely's grapes are fooling nobody with their cartoonish appearance, but in the exhibition catalog, the curator praises the reference as Wisely's wink and nod to painterly conventions of verisimilitude. The day before the collection date, I'm about to make myself some tea and I glance at the painting. I realize the pink songbird is gone. The entire right half of the painting is empty. I move closer. Where there had been pink brushstrokes laid on in thick layers, now there is only the shape of a bird in unprimed canvas, surrounded by a few random pink drips from the original laden paintbrush. The yellow triangle beak, the circle eye, vanished. I look around the room for the pink bird. I search the whole house, shaking out the curtains. It is nowhere, not on top of the wardrobe or the fridge or anywhere it might perch safely. I realize that the window in the kitchen is slightly open. My throat is tight. My heart starts racing. My neighbor's cat or the fox that lingers outside the local Indian restaurant might find the bird. The next day, I put up a sign. Have you seen my bird? I post a picture of the pink songbird, or the painting of her anyway, the way people do with their dogs and cats. Of course, it looks like a joke, this image of a cartoonish pink bird, and I get odd looks as I frantically tack the notice on lampposts and outside the local vet. The registrar from the museum phones to discuss the collection and insurance arrangements. We'd like to do a condition report, she says. I'm sure you'll agree that with such an asset, it's important to document its integrity before it leaves your home. Oh, that won't be necessary, I tell her. The night before the painting is due to be collected, I take it off the wall and prop it near the large window facing the garden. I make sure it is visible from the outside. Maybe this will bring the bird home. I have trouble sleeping, and the next morning I rise early. Walking downstairs, I turn in the direction of the painting, and through the window, I see the bird. It is lying on the flagstones. Rushing outside, I watch for a rise in its pink breast feathers. I think I see the darker rose tail feathers twitch, but it is only a breeze ruffling them. Its head, slightly akimbo from the neck, is perfectly still, and its round eyes are black, straight lines. I imagine it has flown straight against the window, landing only inches from the toucan and the grapes just on the other side of the glass. A few months later, I attend the opening of Rita Wisely's retrospective. The museum is heaving with art world admirers of Rita's, curators, collectors, critics, and groupies. I get close enough to touch her elbow, trying to get her attention, but there is so much competition from others. Finally, I manage to catch her eye, and she recognizes me. I struggle to find the words to explain what has happened. I tried everything, I told her. I blame myself for leaving a window open. I am ashamed and can barely hold her gaze. But Rita isn't angry. She smiles and leans towards me as if she's about to share a secret. Oh, my dear girl, you mustn't worry. Those birds have a mind of their own. It's no surprise to me.